building a Dyson sphere around the sun, and capture all its energy. For many people, it is a distant dream. However, according to the Kardashev Scale, a developed civilization of the opposite sex, it is possible to build such large structures successfully. According to a recent evaluation, the distance we are from reaching this goal, it's like hunting. Gatherers are as far away as building a nuclear power plant. To close this gap, scientists come up with all kinds of extraordinary projects. For example, placing millions of diamond balls on the Earth, launch the giant hexagonal structure into orbit, or half the population living underwater. But can humans really achieve this? Or is this beyond our capabilities? To raise the level of our civilization, we must. Technological progress has accelerated to a rather dangerous rate. In 1964, Soviet scientist Nikolai Kardashev developed a special scale. He believes that all intelligent civilizations should develop according to this scale. The level of progress in civilization depends on the energy it consumes and generates. The original Kardashev scale has only 3 levels: a line of planetary civilizations, 2 star civilizations, and 3 galactic civilizations. So if we want to become an alien civilization, we must produce all the energy available on Earth. It includes planetary resources and access to solar energy. According to the Kardashev scale, our current level of development is about 0.75 level. This can be very close, but the problem is not linear at this scale. It's logarithmic. This means that the closer to the end, the more energy you need to move forward and reach at least 1 unit. So in 7,500 seconds, we actually only have low-type civilizations, 2/10 of the total energy generated. Just a 1% improvement on this scale. We need to start production, 25% more energy now. So, how can one obtain such a powerful energy boost? Recently, Lawrence, Livermore National Laboratory, and the Japanese Universe, a research group at the Aeronautical Research and Development Agency, and came up with a rather interesting solution. It's called Copier, including some giant hexagonal mirrors. They're in space, reflecting and redirecting solar energy to satellites. Then these satellites convert it into radio waves and transmit it to Earth. Their so-called rectified antennas convert it into electricity. Scientists say even a device like this, it can also completely replace several nuclear power plants on Earth. However, the most exciting part is, according to Martin, the CEO of the project, what Suto said, the energy generated in this way, it can be virtually infinite. Because for mirrors placed on specific tracks, the sun never sets. Therefore, the final energy output is only, so far, depends on the number of such devices. This project is purely theoretical, but the governments of leading countries are ready to allocate funds, over $10 billion to implement him. However, each new one, similar large-scale projects, will not only bring us closer to a lower civilization, it will also leave us facing the end, the danger of total extinction. And the reason for this is the big filter. The term was first coined by scientist Robin Hansen, proposed it in 1996. In his opinion, the faster a particular life form evolves, the more dangerous he could become. Although humans seem to have existed for an eternity, but actually on cosmic time scales, the formation of humanity, especially the basic development, evolves extremely rapidly. After all, the universe is over 13.20 billion years old. Intelligent humans only appeared 300,000 years ago, and this happens almost instantaneously on a cosmic scale. The rate at which we're evolving, faster than ever. Therefore, we face an insurmountable obstacle. This will not lead us to Kardashev, low-scale civilizations, but towards the end of tragedy. This is the meaning of the Great Filter. Today, we are already surrounded by many potential disasters, from the uncontrollable greenhouse effect to the dangers of extreme artificial intelligence development. But what does this have to do with space mirrors? Dr. Giovanna Radovic, a professor of thermal science at the University of Portsmouth, has calculated launching the carbon footprint of the Copier project will be all our industries and transportation, 100 times the emissions. In order to obtain clean space solar energy, we risk further destroy the damaged life of the Earth. Risk of state systems. Does this mean, on our way to a lower civilization, we should not rely too much on the possibility to bring ideas, new megaprojects with no consequences? Maybe we should continue to use what we have today, habit energy. Currently, about 70% of the Earth's energy needs still depend on coal, carbon, oil, and gas to meet. However, the issue of natural resources, not only do they contribute to the atmosphere, emission of chemicals and carbon dioxide, and they're running out. But here's the thing. According to the latest research, this resource is depleting faster than we initially imagined, much faster. Specialist of the Slovenian Institute of Geodesy, the family calculated, if we maintain the current production rate, Earth's coal reserves will only last another 133 years, and oil and gas resources will be exhausted in 50 years. Even if we are just trying increase energy production from traditional sources, it will also bring us closer to a civilization that is not inferior. It was the collapse of civilization, so the old energy can no longer be used. But we haven't found enough replacements yet. And here's what's even worse. A 2015 study published in Science Advances research in the journal shows that such an extreme move will really cause a major flood. If we burn all the remaining fossil fuels on Earth, the soldiers of Antarctica will almost completely melt away. Global sea levels could rise by up to 60 meters, submerge half of Europe, even all island nations and most of the world's coastal cities. This will result in hundreds of millions of people becoming victims. Despite this, now we don't just have natural resources and nuclear power. Now, he helps produce about 15% of the world's electricity. Solution seems obvious. We just need more nuclear power plants. However, after the disaster of Chernobyl and tutoring, many advanced countries such as Italy, Germany, and Belgium, they shut down their nuclear program. Even with the development of new technologies every year, these kinds of disasters are becoming less and less likely. This type of energy still exists. Many serious problems. Actually, nuclear power is now a ticking time bomb. There's almost nothing we can do with radioactive waste. Can only store, they hope, future scientists can come up with in the next 1,000 years. Solution. In addition, even if we occupy all available locations, construction of nuclear power plants, this only allows us to stay in colder. The restoration scale is less than 1/10. To move forward a little bit, we're going to need nuclear power plants everywhere. Another alternative could be another type of atomic energy, thermonuclear fusion that turns hydrogen into helium. This releases more energy. Nuclear fusion device is 138 trillion electron negative, and modern nuclear reactors only have poor 1.7 trillion electron negative. At the same time, fusion produces very little toxic waste. Inspired by this, University of California physicist Troy Carter, a system developed that could completely shift America to a cataclysmic energy source. Such a reaction, the reactor is 10 times smaller than a traditional nuclear reactor. Even 20 times. It produces 8 times as much energy at the same time. If you are in the entire country, lay an interconnected fusion reactor network, most industries will no longer require additional power. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen yet. After all, so far, every mega reactor built, the energy it consumes to start itself up, more energy than it produces. December 2022, Livermore Laboratories, Holmes said at a press conference, they use powerful laser equipment, successfully gained more heat than Guidon and reacted. That's 3 times as much energy. Actually, if you don't just calculate the energy inside the reactor, also calculate the total energy required to run the relay, you will find the pure energy released. It uses 1,000 times less energy than the entire United States. And the reaction itself only lasted 1 batch of seconds. Scientists usually don't have time to capture the released energy. Even if we use today the best techniques for building a hot and fusion reactor networks, there's not enough electricity in the world to power it up. Then should we consider it in other technologies? Looking for a boost, the key to the Kardashev Scale? Now, the world we produce with alternative energy sources is approximately 11% of electricity. Hydropower is leading the way, 7%. But it's obvious, not enough to meet all the needs on Earth, let alone surpass them. Even if we manage to start 5 times more than the current number of hydropower plants, closed generators, and solar panels we are in colder, progress on the scale is almost insignificant. The results show that the only way out is not to continuously improve existing technologies and extract the maximum benefit from it. One way is to start from the moon instead of the sun. Extraction of energy, and that's not just our satellite, of course. The faint light emitted, but his attractive force, causing powerful ocean tides on Earth every day, and the energy of these tides, it's actually wasted. To collect him, we need to be on the coast. A similar strange power station is being built nearby, equipped with lightweight underwater propellers. Whenever water flows towards or away from the coast, they will turn. Scientists say the power of such a power station can reach 300 trillion watts. If people could be on all available shores, build such a power station, we will immediately on the Kardashev scale go forward about 1/10, although that is not enough. But if we were here, not only connect to underwater energy, what about underground energy? A large amount of heat continues to flow from the Earth's core, migrate to the surface. With so much geothermal energy, you can heat up to 750 million homes. To start leveraging this resource, we need to be in the right place. Drill wells at least 2 kilometers deep. Then heat the water with hot steam. It can also be turned by special turbines, and it generates electricity. Maybe take this. We will be able to accumulate enough energy to initiate heat and fusion. And the oceans could provide him with an almost endless source of fuel. They contain enough hydrogen, can convert matter into energy. With such a reserve, we will be able to do without any. In the case of additional energy, generating electricity for thousands of years. If you put a fusion battleship in the ocean, their startup might even be easier because of tidal energy. Scientists just need to figure out how to, in a short period of time, accumulate a lot of energy. If such technology can be developed in the near future, send it out and we will be able to, significantly close to the status of a Type 1 civilization, harness the energy of the oceans and the Earth itself. But how do we fill that last gap? In 1973, American astronomer Carl Schorn developed Kardashev Husband's thoughts. He theorized that the first type of planetary civilization will be able to control any natural phenomenon, tsunamis, tornadoes, and earthquakes. We'll simply become an extra reservoir of energy. Humans may soon come close to this power. Back in 2010, scientist John Stoffel proposed the concept of a weather machine. It's a set of tiny transparent spheres. They range in size from 1 millimeter to 1 centimeter. Each sphere is made up of the thinnest possible diamond. The thickness should not exceed 1 nanometer. They have a thin inside membrane and a miniature control unit. Helps tilt the device in different directions. Millions are filled with hydrogen. Ball of gas, about 30 kilometers in the stratosphere, enveloping the entire Earth. Remote control can shade drought-induced areas, simultaneously reflect and redirect light to lack of light. Excess solar energy can be converted into radio waves, sent to Earth. Therefore, we will not only significantly increase the generation of electricity, it will also significantly optimize its cost. Unfortunately, John Hall's idea was not in the scientific community is widely accepted. Experts consider these ideas too impractical. However, recently, researcher Robert Fries reviewed the concept of a weather machine and concluded that it was actually feasible. The first small-scale model testing program as early as 2032. Despite this, skeptics warn that this kind of manipulation of the atmosphere, this could lead to unexpected climate change. It could even lead to an ice age. We certainly want to avoid such a big filter in order to not only become a Kardashev consumer, low-type civilizations on the husband scale, and to maintain that level, we need something radically new. How about from things we don't usually pay much attention to? Extracting energy. In 2019, a group of Filipino graduate students proposed an unusual device capable of generating energy from urban noise. It turns out, an ordinary metropolis, it can generate up to 11,000 to 100 megabytes of sound. watts of energy? It's like a normal thermal power plant, and noise pollution powers neighborhoods. Ordinary waste can also power an entire country. Plastic production increases by millions of tons every year, but only 1/10 of the amount can be reused later. What if we tried to extract energy from waste? It's not recycled. Unfortunately, the most obvious solution. Simple burning of plastic has failed to capture heat. Actually, the greenhouse gases produced in this case, more than any other part of the entire energy industry, 4 times more. By burning garbage, we will add bottom control to the production of energy. Bring in the big filter faster. Human, the opportunity to both resurface from a sea of garbage, open up a new future of pure energy. Pyrolysis is a process that controls the decomposition of compounds. Previously, it was believed that on an industrial scale, it can only be applied to organic matter, but in recent years, he has successfully used it to break down plastics. Concentration in the thermal domain. Plastics decompose by heat in a vacuum. It doesn't smoke. After the chemicals produced are ignited, it can be used as a raw material for fuels and other products. So far, such devices are only used in certain industries. But in 2021, Italian scientist Sabino Olling and his team, we introduced a concept, making plastic pyrolysis a truly global technology. What if, in addition to all previous innovations, we can also recycle all the garbage floating in the ocean? We will rapidly reach the level of a Type 1 civilization. Furthermore, in evolved waters, we can build future energy-independent cities. This pair of Ren, it is necessary for any low-gender civilization. The Ocean Spiral project of Shimizu Corporation of Japan, accommodating thousands of residents. It doesn't require massive energy costs. This floating ball with a diameter of 500 meters. The body is located below the sea surface. It will include commercial and residential areas, hotel, gym, garden and cinema. Basically everything a human being needs to live comfortably. This capsule will pass a 15-kilometer spiral path connects to the ocean floor. For a metropolis like this, it doesn't require any additional energy sources. After all, the ocean floor is closer to the magma. If you only drill carbon 1.5 kilometers deep tight, the heat of the Earth, you can fully meet all your energy needs. Maybe you don't even need to drill carbon. If humans had mastered another specific thermonuclear nucleation, changes in power by orders of magnitude. Antimatter. It is ordinary matter with all parameters opposite. And here's the thing. When the corresponding particles collide, matter and antimatter will be in intense flashes of light. Drown each other. The energy released here, that's about 250 billion times the energy of fusion. Imagine that. Just 1 gram of antimatter can be produced. More than 50 to 1,000 gigawatts of energy. That's enough to power 40 million homes. But there's a catch. That is hardly on Earth possible living antimatter. That's why engineers didn't even think about building antimatter power plant. Instructing scientist James Bickford proposed the idea of mining him in space. To do this, we need to launch to high temperatures, superconducting coils beyond Earth's orbit. These coils will be powered by solar energy, generates a magnetic field to trap antimatter. In theory, it only takes 1 day. Humans could have 20 times the current capacity, but antimatter hides a danger. This could make us an alien civilization. Another huge obstacle on the road. American physicist Robert Foward believes that the matter and antimatter in the universe should be in proportion. Balance. If you extract large amounts of antimatter from space, this balance will be disrupted. Scientists have recently discovered that Earth's magnetic field has attracted some antimatter particles. If you start mining antimatter near Earth, this could affect his magnetic field operation until it disappears completely. Then the charged particles in the solar wind will collide, hit every electronic device on our planet. These devices will soon become irrelevant because there is no magnetic field protection. Movement on Earth, communication, and the internet will also disappear, coupled with the painful death of radiation sickness. This is the apex of disaster, and our civilization, not an alien on the Kardashev scale. It's going to go back to zero. Scientists believe that prevent us from achieving bacterial energy breakthrough. It's not just a technical challenge or potentially huge filters. We have clearly seen to become an alien civilization. Without certain large-scale projects, it is impossible. But in today's world, it's something that only a professional society can do. For example, the United Arab Emirates, the record-breaking motorcycle haul buildings in Chengwo, and man-made islands. Unlike democratic countries, in those countries, don't ask citizens, what exactly should I spend my money on? Carl Schoren is convinced humans are only absolute, under equal human rights and democracy, to become a thriving heterosexual civilization and maintain that status. But how many people will actually vote for knowledge, put their entire year's budget, flowers on a 6-pointed star mirror, or go without electricity for days to run a fusion network? So far, it's hard to find a solution to this paradox. So, how do you organize humans to achieve heterosexual civilization? And any suggestions for realizing the Dyson Ball dream?